Hi everyone, welcome to Jump School. I'm your host, Ihsaan, the StyleJumper, and today I have an amazing interview with my good friend, LaShawnda Becoates, and we are talking about 40 plus courting. What is it like to court when you're over 40? And how do you work with your style, your etiquette, your communication skills with adults? Because we're grown, right? If you're over 40, well, all of us are grown, but this is specifically about being over 40. And so we had this phenomenal conversation. So I want you guys to tune in. Let me know what you thought about this conversation. I have to apologize because the first 15 minutes of the conversation, I had some audio issues, so we had to cut. Here's what you missed on the portion about the bad audio. I'll get you up to speed. We were having this great conversation about women want to see guys dress nicely after work, and what does that look like? And also, guys, we are trying to figure out, and what I was sharing with her is, here's some ideas that you can wear that will allow you to still be creative and fun, but also look professional, stylish, and elegant. And for those of us who are over 40, we grew up in hip hop, so we have a lot of challenges when it comes to making that transition from the culture of the style that we were attached to. Usually we're really connected between the time that we graduated from high school and graduated from college. So that is a sticky point for guys, particularly, that we don't know how to make that transition in our attire. So what I was talking about was, hey, maybe you want to consider chinos, because chinos gives us that color variety that we loved back in the day when it comes to like cross colors and carcanai and jabots and all these different jeans and styles of clothing when we were younger, but give it more of a tailored fitting look and more professional and more mature look. So I was talking about that, and then our audio kicked back in. Then our audio kicked in, and so we're gonna go right now to exactly that point. And again, I hope you enjoy. I look forward to seeing you at the end of the episode.
Have some chinos with some color to it, because you probably won't wear those colored chinos into work.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But then you can then wear some hard bottoms with that, wear a blazer, pocket square to match. I always like to talk about the rule of three. Have them three colors all the time if you can, because we remember in threes, and it's really easy, and it's easy on the eye, and it's really attractive. So, for instance, if I had on a white shirt and tie today, and I was going out on a date tonight, I would just take my tie off, unbutton the first button. Maybe I'll either switch my suit coat with a sports coat, give it a little flavor, and then think about my shoe choice. So maybe I have on some black cap toe shoes when I went to work, but then I'll change those to a pair of brogues or some wingtips, some tan wingtips, switch up my belt, get a little flavor in there, keep that pocket square in there, and I'm good to go. As long as I'm smelling good and the fit is right, guys, we can do this.
But again, it depends on if you're dressing to the occasion.
Correct. So we got to think about the occasion. So if we were going to let's say to a baseball game, right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure, one, that you have on, I would suggest maybe a well-fitted polo shirt that's not oversized. I wear my shirts in my pants. Once I turned, once I got in my 30s, I started tucking my shirt in my pants.
Okay.
Me, I think it just makes a more seamless look if possible.
Some men can't do that.
If they can't do it, then they want to make sure, if you can't tuck
Some men can't do that.
That it doesn't, as long as it doesn't come all the way down to your, to the middle of your leg. You don't want to be a blouse.
Right.
You want it to be, it's going to fit your body and the length is appropriate. So that's really, really important when it comes to, dressing in that polo. And then again, the shoe choice. I think it's really important that a guy have on appropriate footwear. If you're going to be standing, then maybe I recommend, I don't own like J's or anything like that. I don't have any shoes like that. And some people are sneakerheads.
Too bad for you.
Too bad for me. That's just me. I like minimalist. I'm a minimalist when it comes to shoes. So So I even like, for instance, what I have on today, I have on a cardigan and a V-neck t-shirt. And if I had on either a pair of sneaker bottom leather shoes that are brown with the
Hmm.
white sole and the white t-shirt, and then I have on navy, navy chinos, then I'm in a rhythm when it comes to the look. But I'm not going to go to the game and have on a jersey. That's just not,
That's just your personal
my
preference.
personal preference. But
That's
if I were a guy and I'm really into, um, you know, my team, that's fine. But again, you don't want to have them like, the FUBU size. you know, you
Mhm.
don't want it to be a blouse. If you're gonna get your jersey and you support your team, great. Then make sure it's the appropriate size.
Well, I agree. One of my challenges for women, when I talked about men being dressed for the event, I think that it's important for women to be dressed
Mm-hmm.
to the event. One of the things that I think is a pet peeve that I see that women wear, especially on dates. So I think that women should have handbags and purses for every occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Just the same way that men have certain things that they wear. They switch out their watches depending on if it's a casual thing or more dressy. The same thing with women and handbags. So the handbag that a woman wears to work, that big clunky bag, she shouldn't be taking that big clunky bag with her out to dinner, for example.
Yeah.
A woman needs to have different types of bags to carry her things in. A clutch is really super appropriate to go out to dinner. It's sexy, it's sleek, it's easy, and you're not lugging, this big heavy thing on your shoulders. And I've
Yeah.
seen women at sporting events with humongous bags, and they'll say that they need everything in their bag. And I beg to differ. If you're going out on a date or a casual event, a woman needs 4 things. You want to know what that is?
What's that?
She needs to have hand lotion.
Yes.
And if she's going out on a date, it should be a scent, hopefully, that's not a fruity scent. Because if
Okay.
she has to lend homeboy some lotion, he does not want to wear some floral, fruity something. Men
No, we
always say
don't.
that. Is it smell like flowers? Is it fruity?
Exactly.
Y'all
I
don't
will
want to
not
wear
do
that.
it. I will not
Absolutely
do it.
not. So, in her handbag clutch, she needs to have lotion that's not fruity. She needs to have something to keep her breath fresh. Do you know, Ihsaan, that the number one turn off for a lot of women, me included, is
Yeah.
if you're on a date and the person's breath isn't fresh. What if
Mm.
you want a kiss? So you got to have fresh breath. And then if homeboy doesn't have fresh breath, you need to slide him something too. So make sure you got enough for both.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we got. I'm just keeping it real.
Everybody breath need to smell
But people
good.
don't think about this. So you need to have the lotion. You need to have something to keep the breath fresh. You also need to have something to keep your lips soft.
Oh
I
yeah.
was on a date, forgot my lip gloss, didn't have any lip conditioner, and I was all wrong. I
Oh
was
my
all wrong.
goodness.
I was all wrong.
Oh man.
The breath was good, but I
But
messed up.
you're thinking about it. You're like, gosh, I know my lips, and you're scared to lick them because you might get the white mouth. And you're like,
It's
oh
just
gosh.
so the something to keep the lips, moisturized, mints, lotion. Obviously, this is obvious. A little something to spritz on you when you go into the powder room to just
Yeah.
freshen up.
Yeah.
But my last thing is you got to have a condom.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to
Especially
have a condom.
if you're courting, you dating, you gotta be packing. You gotta have the hats. I got on my hat today. I got mine in the house. I need my hat on. It's just nervous. Gotta have.
But I wanted to bring that up because real talk, when you're courting, when you're dating, we're over 40. So
Yeah, we grown.
this
We
is an
grown.
adult conversation.
Yeah, we
You
grown.
need to make sure that you're protected
Sure.
because anything can happen. Some people do, some people don't. But I think the mature woman, which is what we're talking about, should have those 5 essentials in her handbag. And if she's going to a sporting event, it may not be a clutch. It may be a pouch of some sort, but make
Yeah.
it sleek, make it sexy, and make sure that it goes with whatever she's wearing.
Well, I think those are excellent points. One of the things I was thinking with me and you sort of were part of the thunder that I was going to say with the guy. A guy needs to have like a 5-point checklist. He needs to have a toiletry bag in the car at
I
all
have one
times.
in the car too.
There you go. You got to be
High
on the ready,
five.
right? You
Yes.
travel, you got to be ready. So you need to have those mints. Keep it in that inside pocket. Make sure your hair is groomed, your nails are groomed. Your nails are done, right? You don't want to have those ashy knuckles either. You don't want to have those real crusty hands where the woman wants you to touch her and hold her. If you get lucky, you don't want to be cutting up her back. You know what I mean? You don't want to be ripping off her shirt with them bad hands. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Tearing up her nice outfit. Let her take that off. Let her.
But people, and I've seen this, don't often check themselves before the date. They don't.
It's sad. It's sad. I think, guys have to just make sure, one, that we're setting a realistic expectation of the dating and courting, right? So we need to know if something happens, phenomenal, but that shouldn't be, the catalyst for
focus. Definitely not.
You know what I mean? So, that's not necessarily going to be the end result. The end result is making a connection, having a mature conversation.
Absolutely.
A great experience, and everything that you spoke about, guys need as well. We also need to smell good, right? The breath needs to be tight, hair, nails, lotion, definitely a condom. And one of the things.
Did that embarrass you?
No, not at all. One of the things I was going to say is, that's why I'm laughing. I think every guy, and this is the cheat code of cheat codes.
Okay, drop the cheat code.
This is the cheat code. So if you're getting lucky and if you have to go to the restroom, obviously you don't want to use the restroom if you're going to that wonderful young lady's house and you happen to stay over. So if you went out to eat, you need to go to the restroom there. And I recommend flushable wipes. Flushable wipes, just to make sure you clean, boy, because you might not get to the point where you're going to take that shower. I'm serious. You need to make sure you hit that bathroom.
I'm obsessed with flushable wipes. That's why I'm laughing.
You better hook that boy up real quick when you go to the bathroom. I'm just saying, because if you're honest with yourself.
And that's what 40 plus and courting
that's
people.
What we gotta be, and we gotta be prepared. To your point, having a condom to protect yourself is really important. But also, you want to protect your body, and you want to have that. Nobody don't want to be around the guy with funky, all over his body. Because we get in emotion, we have some heated passion going on, right? And you don't want to end that passion on a low note. Because you're not smelling right. Unless some ladies just say, "Hey, let's go." They might be nice and say, "Hey, let's go take a shower."
So that's the real, that's the other level of courting.
I'm saying
true.
You got to smell good. You know what I mean? So your body needs to be on point. Because you just never know. You never know the scenario. And again, even with me and my wife, I want to always make sure. I always want to turn my wife on. That's one of the things I always want to do. I always want to have my wife, not be embarrassed to go out with me.
And that's a great point, because it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
Adult sexy is a whole nother level, and everybody's interpretation of adult sexy is different. What's your interpretation of what adult sexy means from a male's perspective?
When I look at a woman, one of the things that I think is really appealing, a woman that has great style. She doesn't have to show all her curves. I don't need to see all her cleavage. I don't need to see her pulse on her behind. I don't need to, if she got on a skirt, I don't want her to, if the wind blow, I see, everyone sees all of that. Adult sexy, like to your point, your outfits fitting you well. You got your clutch bag that's matching your shoes or your belt, your earrings popping, the lips are right, you smell good. That, because we already had that, we already been where, hit the club and all that kind of stuff. We're not in that, we're not of that era anymore. Unless you're going out to some jazz or some music or something like that. You want to always, I'm really attracted to those type of women. Hair looks wonderful, natural or not. Lips look great. Skin, it's taken care of, smell good. To me, that's adult sexy in a woman. And a woman that's confident too.
That's what I was going to say. So what I hear you saying mostly is that it's about confidence. And I think it goes, the same way for women. We want to see men who are comfortable in their skin. I've had situations, I've been on dates where the gentleman may have been dressed appropriately, stylish, but somewhere along the line in the date, especially if we were connecting with other people, he shrank.
Mm.
He actually shrank. I mean, introductions, just on a casual date, he fell back and wasn't that, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm so and so. And so the confidence piece, I think, is huge when it comes to dating and being on this courting scene, because a lot of people miss that because they're so in tune with what they want to impress the other person with, that they're not just being themselves and
Mm.
stepping into the moment and sharing and enjoying the moment with the person that they're with.
Well, let me ask you this on the reverse side of that. What do you feel is, that ideal mature man, that adult sexy in a man? What does that look like and great for you? A man can be, to your point about insecure, clothes don't really,
Make a man.
it don't make a man,
Mm-mm.
your
Mm-mm.
style is who you are. The
Mm-hmm.
clothes is what you wear. So you bring
Mm-hmm.
those clothes to life. Because if you look at a mannequin is just a mannequin with an outfit on.
Mm-hmm.
But if that man can come alive, he start moving and his posture change, and and he's talking and he's confident in who he is and he's comfortable. Then that's where your style, that's where that steez come from. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
have your own steez and not necessarily worry about, uh, what other people's career is. Sometimes that can be one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
guys get really uncomfortable with. Where they are in their station in life can make some guys feel uncomfortable as well. But I think that if you're honest with yourself and you're true with who you are, those things don't really matter, especially the other person. You just have to be comfortable with yourself and really engage in the conversation. Because to your point, you're gonna lose points, or you're gonna the person that you're with, they're gonna feel kind of out of place if you're not engaging, if you're not, showing your full self and being a part of the conversation and the dialogue. Because now I would assume you're starting to, second guess, wow, this guy's not confident. I don't know if I want to be with this dude.
Exactly.
It's not sexy.
Exactly.
Kind of kill your
Exactly.
mojo.
Exactly. Exactly. And I still think it goes back to really truly understanding why you are dating and what it is you want from that connection. Um, funny little thing, and I'll answer your question. But one of the things that I looked at and wrote down for myself was in the beginning of this year was to be more discerning.
Mm.
And in that discernment, just from the courting dating standpoint, and I'm all booed up and off the market now, but booed up and
Sorry,
off.
fellas, you missed out, fellas.
Yeah,
You slipped up, fellas. You missed it.
I'm all booed up.
She booed
But
up, which is great.
earlier
Good for you.
this year, I wrote down no more nice guys.
Mm.
And you know why I wrote that?
Yeah,
I
I want to
wrote
hear
it
that. I'm
down
curious.
because everybody's nice.
Mm.
Everyone is nice. So you talked about your representative. Everybody is nice initially, but that doesn't break down who the individual is. They're going to say what you want them to hear. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to do the things that they think you want them to do. And they're going to be nice, but nice doesn't cut it. We have to get beyond, oh, he's a nice guy or she was nice. What else do you bring to the table?
Mm.
So to answer your question, um, do you want to know personally what I want in a mature man, or what I like, or what?
I think a little both. I'm curious what you find is, um, attractive and ideal in a mature man, in his style and his presence. But also, I'm curious for those guys out there who are, who are on the call right now on the live. They want to know what are things that mature women are looking for in a man. You know what I mean? When it comes to their demeanor, their style. You talked about confidence, which is great, but I'm really curious.
Yeah, so I'll answer for me and I'll break it down on two sides. So you have the external and
Mm-hmm.
then you have the internal.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, what I attracted to me was a whole man. And a whole man meaning that he didn't come to me with issues, he didn't come to me with drama. He
Mm-hmm.
came to me prepared to connect and date. And what I love about him is that he knew what he wanted. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge piece of what
Yeah. Yeah.
has to be a part of the 40 plus conversation, because like I said earlier, we think that when we get this age that everyone's on the same page. That's not true. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you don't know what you want, a lot of men don't know what they want outside of the physical. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of women don't know what they want outside of the physical, and also what they've been conditioned to believe is a part of being in a relationship, that
Mm-hmm.
he should have this, he should be this height. So for me personally, I'm attracted to a whole man, a man that comes to the table knowing what he wants
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship, being confident, being consistent, and also being healthy. I've had, like, the last 3 years, I've had a hell of experience with men who were not healthy.
Mm.
So I have to put that on the table when it comes to this dating thing, because I've dated in the last 3 years, I've dated men in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And when men get 35 and up, when there's a health issue, that's going to affect everything. And I'm talking about not, eating properly, not taking care of, their teeth, not making sure that they are just healthy, because that affects everything
You're
and
right.
everything. And so
For sure.
first and foremost, for me, I'm interested in, like I said, a man that's he's got to be healthy. But let's break down the other side of it. I don't like flash and dash. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
interested in the man with the Versace glasses on and a bunch of stuff. I like men who are just simple and um stylish without screaming that they're in a room. And there's nothing wrong with, wearing some designer things, but I don't like a lot of labels and a lot of
Yeah.
flash and dash. So he's just got to be clean cut. Oh, the hygiene.
Oh yeah.
Yo, yo.
Gotta smell good.
You talking about smelling? I'm not talking about smelling. I'm
Them
talking about
nails.
your grill.
The grill. Oh
The
no.
grill. Listen, I will ask a man, when was the last time you've been to dentist? Because, and we're talking about style and courting, but let's break this down really quickly. When we're talking about dating, we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at physical first, usually.
Yes.
Physical, then you get to the mental, and then you peel
Yeah.
back all these layers. But
Yeah.
when you eventually get to a side of intimacy, you need to make sure you're healthy. You've done that check, and you need to make sure he's healthy, that he's done that check. A lot of men don't like to go to the doctor.
We don't. I think one of the things with men and the doctors, especially African American men, there's this. I almost feel like epigenetics, with the Tuskegee experiment. That's
Yeah.
like a back pocket, if you will, where there's there's not a lot of trust. In
Hmm.
anytime there's anything on the news when it comes to health, the first community that when they talk about negativity,
Hmm.
it's the African American community.
Absolutely.
Highly
And we're in the
suspicious.
middle of that now. We're
Yeah,
in the middle of
exactly.
that
And
now.
so
Hmm.
so I think men, number one, because quite honest, we don't have the simple checkups that that women have, that they've been accustomed to since they were
Hmm.
little. And those
Hmm.
checks, those things that's changing in your body that you're dealing with, and we're not bringing life into the world. So we're only an observer out of
Hmm.
a lot of this process, right?
Hmm.
So we're not thinking about, well, as long as I'm not, my toes not
Coffee.
falling off, I'm not coughing, I got some of my teeth, maybe some of them fell off, but I just want to make, but I do know that, I believe that men have an issue with that. Like, you know, it's really interesting because women deal, from my observation, women deal with so much news, right, of
Mm-hmm.
their bodies and being
Mm-hmm.
talked to about their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't have that.
That's
So
true.
to go into a room, usually with another man, and to tell me about my body,
Very uncomfortable.
it's very uncomfortable
Yeah.
conversation because we don't have that conversation about our bodies our whole lives.
That's
None.
true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
Hmm.
since you were a little girl, when you begin your cycle, you know that conversation is being had in some process, and then there's even commercials about it, all these
Right.
different things.
There's the
You don't,
conditioning. There's a
yeah,
societal
conditioning. So yeah,
conditioning
exactly. So we don't get that
around.
the body and how do you self care. Men don't get that. We don't have
That's
checks for our
true.
breasts. We don't,
That's
we're
true.
not checking for those things. So unless you caught something, you got somebody pregnant, or you old enough where
You need the
where
prostate checked out.
yeah, you start talking prostate. Oh man, Moon River. I'm not ready for that. You know what I mean? And then after that is Cialis or Viagra.
Right.
Those are the only time you're talking to men about their bodies.
But that's why I think the awareness when we're talking about this courting space of being over 40 has to be a part of the dialogue. And I
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
both parties back and forth need to demand that, because when I've asked a man who has wanted to be in a committed relationship with me, yo, where's your check? I need you to go run your STD panel. I've had men say, like, what do you mean?
I'm being
And
offended.
get really
Offended. Yeah,
uncomfortable
offended.
that I've asked for that. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, if I'm going to give up the goods, you need to be straight, and you also need to be and know that I'm straight, so that I'm presenting you with that as well. So these conversations need to be had, because I've been in situations where a man will perpetrate, like, everything is good, he's healthy, but then when you get to the good, that
Yeah.
part,
The part.
it's not right. But
Mm.
it's because of diet, it's
Yep.
because of not exercising, it's
Yes.
because of all the things that you talked about. There isn't support for men around what health looks like. So back to what we're talking about, that's an attractive thing for me, and I think and I hope that it's an attractive thing for women, and if not, it's something that they think about, and vice versa for men as well.
I think what would be awesome is if the you two are very open with each other and comfortable, go together, or we and have that conversation. Okay, we're gonna do this as a
Like in
together
high
thing.
school.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, because that's building trust, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And or say, okay, we both are gonna go clinic, whatever that process is,
Right.
and on Friday we're gonna come together, and make and we're gonna talk about these these results, because
And
if if you can get past if that's um, a point of contingency, then you already know, okay, if you're uncomfortable with this, then you're probably someone that I can't trust.
absolutely.
You
And
know
I
what I
love
mean?
what Jay said. Jay said, let's make it a date.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
Let's make it a date.
That's what I
But
mean by going together.
yes, and so, back to what we were talking about originally, I think that those are some of the things that women are looking for when it comes to, style. Just a man, again, who's healthy, who's whole.
Mhm.
Also, on the external part, a man who knows how to dress for the occasion, for where he is. He knows how to look at a sporting event. He's not overdressed. I
Mhm.
love it in my dating stages where a man will say, well, what are we doing, or if he planned, and we talk about what we're going to wear, not the twinsy things, but
Yeah,
just to make sure that when we're walking into a room that we look like we belong together.
there's some
Have you seen
symmetry
that?
there. Yeah, there's some symmetry.
But have you seen that people who don't look like they belong together
Uh,
because they've never had a conversation about dressing and the appropriateness for the event?
you
And
know,
remember that story I told you?
yeah, you know, look, I think guys have have to really be aware. And sometimes we're not paying attention. Sometimes we're thinking about the goods the whole time. We're not thinking about, you know, the environment that we're heading into. And a part of the courtship is the way that you bring yourself into a new environment with the person you're with.
I agree.
You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Because
I
I'm
agree.
sure you want to say, gosh, y'all see who I'm rolling with tonight?
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? And you feel good. You're kind of looking over at that person like, yeah, you might get lucky tonight. You know what I mean? Or
I agree.
it is not happening. You
I
know what I
agree.
mean?
I agree.
It is
I've been
not.
I've been totally turned off in dates, first dates,
Mm.
by men who weren't dressed appropriately. And a crazy example was my second husband. When he showed up on our first date, we were going to a museum. He showed up in some raggedy jeans, a t-shirt with a damn hole under the arm, true story, and a baseball cap turned backwards. And I
Oh,
had on a dress and I had on heels, and I was so disappointed. But let me tell you the languaging that led me into eventually marrying this person and then eventually divorcing the person.
okay.
But the languaging was, you can change him when you marry him. If
Mm.
y'all get married, you can change him. And what I want to say is that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
For real. It really is. You have to accept a person as they are. If a man is open, and this goes back both ways, if a man is open to experiencing something different, to your point earlier, then you can, help him evolve into something. Because, like you said, some men aren't into clothes. But if you have a man who, like my second husband, I had two husbands, but my second
Hey,
husband,
you get it right. Till you get it right.
look, till I get it right, he wasn't interested in clothes. So I had to take the time. And this is something that women don't want to do. And I'm going to speak for all of y'all, just because we don't want to have to dress our man.
Mm.
We don't want to have to always tell him what to wear. Mature women, like I said earlier, want men. I'm sorry about that. Want
It's all right.
men who can come to the table and know how to dress.
Well, I think with men and evolving in style, and one of the things, it's really interesting when sometimes women approach me. They're like, "Well, I really like what you got on. Did your wife get that for you? Where did your wife get that outfit?" And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, "What, man?"
Don't you pick some
And
of your wife's
I,
things for her?
yeah, but
Yeah, you
it's
pick.
but I'm not dressing her. Women, I think guys. Okay, we're gonna go back to history.
Yes.
Usually,
Okay. Break it down.
mama's going to get the clothes. Daddy's not going to shopping to get no clothes. It's
Mm-hmm.
mama. Mama buying
Mm-hmm.
your clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, all up until you start buying your own clothes. But usually when it comes to dress wear, that was always a mom. Then usually your lady that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you're grown, you don't even know. So if you're dating, you're always kind of leaning on that female opinion about what to wear,
Mm-hmm.
instead of really focusing on, okay, how can I create my own identity when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to my style? And also being okay with learning new styles. I grew up in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
then I go to the West Coast, and
Different.
totally different. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I had this preppy look that I like, especially when I moved out to the West Coast. I was
Mm-hmm.
into, the Tommy Hilfigers and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But it wasn't until I was introduced to vintage clothes, and
Mm-hmm.
that's, guys, this is a cheat code. I was introduced to vintage, and that's what really shifted
Elevated your style.
elevated my style and
Mm-hmm.
fit.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually the fit of clothing in years past were more of a tapered look. So
Mm-hmm.
I got comfortable wearing tapered clothing in my early 20s. So as I mature, I started to feel uncomfortable wearing clothes that were too big because it didn't fit right. I remember working, talking about cross colors in the hip hop era of clothing. I was working for Mark Echo at the time, and I would give my clothes. I would give that away. I would give that to all my boys.
Because it didn't fit your personal style.
I didn't mind doing it for the shoots and the runways and all that kind of stuff, but rarely would you see me walk out with any of that stuff. But I got a coat right here that's 20 years old. It's a leather varsity jacket from Echo. I've worn that thing 5 times.
Wow, in 20 years.
20, it looks brand new. And it's because that's not me really.
That's not your style.
No, it's not. And so I think if guys have to bring it back to a point, if guys can start taking some risks when it comes to exploring what fits well, and usually guys, just to give an example, oversize their purchases by at least 1 size.
Okay. And why do you think that is? Is it because they don't actually know their body type, aren't being realistic? Because I could say the same for a lot of women. Same thing. Not really sure of their body type and what looks good on them. Is that the same for men?
I think so, but also to, again, in our 40 and over, again, we grew up in hip hop. So the fits for hip hop, even in suiting, were larger suits.
Steve Harvey shoulder, baggy, boxy.
Longer
jackets
style, the blazers too long, 3 buttons, it's kind of like you want to move for some reason, and the pants are just like swinging,
the dancers, remember the dancers?
Yeah,
you had to have room.
I had mine in 8th grade. Stop playing. I was doing Bobby Brown. You couldn't keep me off the dance floor for real. Always on the floor.
Exactly.
But I think that's what it is, man. Again, men get stuck in the era of clothing, and they don't know how to make that transition. And so if you wear something that truly fits you, then you feel like it's tight. You feel uncomfortable. But it's almost like some nice shoes. You have to break it in a little bit, and that's not meaning I don't recommend guys getting spray-on suits. I think that's personally, I think that's not tasteful.
Like what?
Spray-on suits that's just like too tight.
Yeah, European cut suits that are
just too tight. Like that's, to me, that's someone who doesn't know fit. That's someone who doesn't know that you shouldn't have to squeeze on your shirt. And that's different for a woman, personally. But a guy shouldn't have to squeeze on a pair of pants or squeeze on a suit jacket, or if the buttons on your jacket is too much tension. That's not attractive for a mature man. See,
anything's on men. We're getting the throw up sign. Addie's like, no way. I agree, Addie. No way. Not cute at all. Yeah. Not at all. Or let me throw this in there.
Yeah.
The skinny jeans on a mature man with all the rips and cuts all up the leg.
Terrible. Here's the point for guys out there. If you want to wear skinny jeans, this is something I recently discovered.
Okay.
A mature man can get away with skinny jeans.
Okay.
1, you need to size up. Just size up. Because in your waist, you want to size it up because you might maybe the guys really like that tapered look. So go up 1 size on your pants and then go get it altered to bring it in a bit. You know what I mean? So because now you get more room in your thighs, in your lower calf, because you go 1 size up. But then you just need to go to the tailor and get them taken in around the waist. So that you go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So that you have the best of both worlds. But if you're a grown man, and I would venture to say if you're 30 years old or older, you shouldn't have no rips in your pants. I just don't think it's appropriate.
You think it's too trendy?
I think it's tacky. I think it's trendy, and I think that you don't understand that you're being trendy. And people see, I rarely use the word fashion. It's not word.
It's more style. At this point, it's style. Hopefully, you develop, the things that are essential to you. Like, I love eyewear. You know, so
you do. I love your eyewear.
Oh, thank you. But certain things that become a part of who you are, and you help, develop it over time. You add to it, but it makes sense based on your body type. I could talk all day about body type because that's important to just know how to dress to your physique. And
Yeah.
I beg to differ when you said men can get away with that slim leg. It depends on the body type.
True. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
If the guy has really, really big thighs. So two things I want to mention before we get cut off. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds before we get a cutoff with the live. One of the things that, the body type is important. So you don't want to have on, if you have huge calves and huge thighs, that's not appealing. And, one of the things, if you're a guy who has more of a V body type, broad shoulders, and you have slender legs, then, you can get away with that. But if you're a pear, if your body's shaped like a pear, a teddy bear pear or a brick,
yep,
you better not put them pants on.
Good advice. Good advice. So to wrap it up, you can find you where? Where can you find you?
Oh, where you can find me at the StyleJumper here on YouTube, and also here on IG and on YouTube. You're gonna always get great tips from me about men's style on YouTube and Instagram.
Yes, and stay tuned as I am developing more around 40 plus and courting. It's an important dialogue. It's an important space for single folks, married folks, and people who are wanting to make intimate connections. So stay tuned, and you can follow me if you are followers of Ihsaan at Run Toward Your Life.
And we're going to do this again. Take care.
Yes.
So what do you think, folks? Wasn't that an amazing interview? Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening today as we continue growing and learning about ourselves and learning about what are some of the things that we should expect if we're over 40. So I hope you took some notes. I sure did. This was a phenomenal conversation and I enjoyed every single minute of it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to do another one of these. So let me know in the comments. Let us know if this is something that you want to hear more about, because I can't wait for the next conversation. I wish you the best, and as always, leave with style, confidence, and etiquette, and we'll see you on the next episode. If you want to see what I'm wearing on a day-to-day basis, check out my Instagram. There you'll find a ton of looks that maybe you can choose from, or at least get some inspiration. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions, leave it in the comments below. We'll see you next time.